Brakathiya Howell, Brakathiya Shai, Brakathiya Howell, Brakathiya Shai, Brakathiya Howell, Brakathiya Howell, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash, the blondes of the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone Jewel. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there. You brothers that sincerely do this thing in the admirable truth and sincerity. I'm the priest Shimon, and I'm following up a bit with going to that word charagma and using the Septuagint to do it to get a greater understanding of that word, the background, to help identify with this transliteration of the word mark here in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. I'm going to read it again. And he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And again, when we went to the Hebrew word, the Hebrew Bible, most Hebrew Bibles today, for that word mark, they're going to have, let me just go to one of these Hebrew Bibles right here. They're going to have the Hebrew word thawa. I'm going to see if I can highlight it. It's this word right here. Let me see. It's not letting me highlight. Slakia. That's it right there. You see that tha and a wa there? That's the same Hebrew word tawa, which is in Ezekiel 9 and 4. Now, as the apostle Elder Reimler had put, a better Hebrew word, or the proper Hebrew word that would be there, would be kwai kwai, which is like an incision, into, like, gives you a great understanding, because this Hebrew right that you're seeing here is not the Hebrew that was converted into Greek. This is, however, more of a Hebrew that's translated into English versions of the Bible. All right, the King James English versions of the Bible. So what we're going to do to get a greater understanding, and you brothers could do this on your own, we're going to use the Septuagint to help us understand what, that mark is, and to get a greater, when you understand it, you're going to see more clearly that it's talking about the RFID microchip. All right, so the first thing brothers can do is you download this MySword app right here, and you get that different, I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to hit the settings button right here, and then you're going to go to download modules, right? If you want more information, you can use the GMS to the point page and type in MySword app. I'll go in a bit more detail back a few years ago. So you're going to click Bible, and you're not going to click English. You're going to scroll down, and you're going to go to Greek, ancient Greek. We want ancient Greek. All right. And you're going to download the analytic Septuagint. All right. It's the first one. It's the main one you want. I have another version here. The New Testament in the original Greek. That's another thing to help. The New Testament in the original Greek. All right. Now this is what I want to do now, right? We're gonna hit compare, and we're gonna look at some of those Bibles in the ancient Greek. So go ahead and hit compare. Well, you're not gonna see it in that ALXX means the Septuagint. All right, but this version right here has the New Testament in ancient Greek, and it should be right around. It should be G 5480, if I'm not mistaken. There it is, G 5480, right? Charagma, and the root origin, it says from the same as G 5482, which is the word karax, right? The transliteration karax, right? Which is a pale or a stake or palisades or a rampart, correct? Now, with that in mind, we're gonna use our Septuagint. I'm gonna go to let's go to Genesis, the first chapter, right? Let's go to Genesis, the first chapter. And you can watch the previous lesson too to get a bit more information. We're going to go to Genesis, the first chapter, because the book of the Old Testament, the Septuagint, was translated in Alexandria, Egypt, during the time of Ptolemy. When our people was dispersed amongst the whole Greek Empire, we spoke different languages. So, pardon me, we lost our language, and we were speaking Greek. So a lot of people forgot how to speak Hebrew. So the Bible was converted into Greek, and this is what you're looking at. All right, that ALXX is a Septuagint. All right, so what I'm going to do now is, we know that G5480 charagma goes back, the root origin is G5482, correct? So let me just have it just like this. This is a straight up Septuagint, the analytic Septuagint, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit search. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do search that Bible, search the Septuagint for G5482. All right. The root of the word charagma, which is charax. And we're going to see certain scriptures that's dealing with that word charagma, its root word. You're going to see that it's not dealing with a mark in the sense of the one that's written in Ezekiel. For example, if I was to mark on a piece of paper, that doesn't mean I just stuck. If I wrote a pen, take a pen and wrote it on a piece of paper, that don't mean I took the pen and stuck it through the paper. All right, that's a different type of mark. This charagma word, which goes back to charax, we're gonna see where it's used. You're gonna see that it's actually used in sieges, all right, in trench warfare. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 19, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna compare it with the King James version. So I'm going to go ahead and hit compare. And we're going to see what Deuteronomy 20 and 19 says. Remind you, keep in mind, that word charagma is at the end. And let's see what the word they use for it. All right. All right. Now this is the King James. Deuteronomy 20 and 19. When thou shalt besiege a city as a long time in the making a war against it, to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them, for thou mayest eat of them, and thou shalt not cut them down, for the tree of the field is man's to employ them in the siege. So when we look up that Hebrew word for siege, all right, you get faces. Pretty much whenever you see something dealing with a siege or to besiege, brothers, when they were converting the Hebrew Bible, they used the word charax. Because as you can see from the picture above, this is what you would do. You would cut these trees down, and you would create a mound, and you use these palisades or these pointy stakes to defend you. All right. Let's see where else it's used. We're gonna go back to search. Salakia. We're gonna go back to search. They have scriptures in 1 Kings 20 and 12. Ecclesiastes 9 and 14, the word charagma is at the latter end. The word charax is at the latter end of this particular verse. All right, G5482. So let's see what that says in English. And let's see if it's talking about marks in terms of a sign or such. All right, we're going to see what the root, when this word is used in the root form, we're going to see what it's associated with. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit compare again. Pardon me. Go ahead and compare this verse. Do you remember G542 right here? Charagma is at the very end of the of that particular verse, right? Yep. So let's see what it says in English. I'm going to go ahead and hit compare, or rather, just King James. Ecclesiastes 9 and 14. It says, there was a little city and few men within it, and there came a great king against it and besieged it, and built a great bulwark against it. And when you look up this word besiege in here, all right, it's the same thing. Pretty much goes into like a mound. All right. This particular Hebrew word there is not mound, but anytime you see the word besiege, all right, or anything doing with a siege, oftentimes when brothers was converting this Hebrew into Greek, they used the word charax. All right. Again, the Septuagint again. Go ahead and search it. The analytic Septuagint. What are the scriptures they have? They have Ecclesiastes 9 and 14, Isaiah 29 and 3, Isaiah 31 and 9, Isaiah 37:33, Jeremiah 33 and 4, Ezekiel 4 and 2, Ezekiel 21 and 22, Ezekiel 26 and 8. So pretty much 10 verses. I'm not gonna go through all of them. Let me just click one more, and I'm gonna see what this one says. King James. Let's jump back into the King James. Let's see what this is talking about when that word karax is there. Let's see where it's at in this particular verse. The word karax is let's see, G5482 is used towards like the back end of the verse. So let me see what that says in English, and let me see what that word, that what it's dealing with. All right, that topic is dealing with that scripture. Still having it in Hebrew, Slovakia. Go to King James. King James. It says, "He shall slay with the sword thy daughters in the field, and he shall make a fort against thee, and cast a mound against thee, and lift up the buckler against thee." So again, that mount is the same thing, and you see it in the picture above. All right, which is shalal. Shalah, pardon me, a mound. All right. So the root word of charagma goes back to these different mounds and sieging. When you look at it in the Septuagint, when you find that word karax and you see what it deals with, it really deals with what you see above. So the reason I'm stressing this point is to prove that when John was seeing what he was seeing, all right, it was the Hebrew equivalent of a palisades being rammed into the flesh. All right, these palisades or these stakes or pales being rammed into the flesh, man, proving that this thing is not spiritual. It's not a spiritual mark. All right, that he was seeing. He was seeing a physical palisades being rammed into people's flesh, which is that RFID microchip, right? Now, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna search the King James Version, all right, for G482. Let me see. And let's see what it's talking about. See? When we go to Luke 19:43, it says, "For the day shall come upon thee that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round about, and compass like it." Luke 19:43, "For the day shall come upon thee that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side." And again, when you look up that trench, G42, all right, the root word for charagma, guess what it has to deal with? All right, karax, it has to deal with pales or stakes, or palisades, man. This is when we looked up, we took karax in the Septuagint, all right, and we see what Hebrew words were associated with karax, and it always had to do with things such as mounds, all right, besieging, all right, sieges, all right. When you build a fort and you have a mound around it. So the inspiration of the word charagma goes back to that, which goes back to these particular palisades you see in this mound, all right. And it was a spirit that I was speaking to elder brother Brock Abal. He said, like, we're the new translators, man. And when you watch the video I did, all you got to do is go on the common boards, and you had the apostle Elder Raimla made a beautiful point. A more accurate Hebrew word for what that mark is gonna, what that mark is about is kwai, man. All right. So somebody try to come to you and say, "Listen, man, I had my Hebrew Bible and I saw Tawah, all right, in Revelations 13:16. Well, you could go into it, charagma, all right, and then the word karax and how karax is used in the Old Testament, man, and those different scriptures that where you see karax at, man. It has nothing to do with a marking sense in the terms of marking something on the wall, but rather sticking pales and palisades in the ground to mount a defense, man. So the apostle John, what he was seeing was this devil, so-called white man, all right, putting palisades in right hands and foreheads, man. And that's what the chip looked like, man. Especially with the needle going into somebody's hand, and that microchip, all right, that palisades being put into people's hands. That's what he saw. So I'm going to close out with a scripture. And that scripture is going to be Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7. And I like using the visuals. I like I like sometimes screen recording because it gives you a greater understanding. This is Proverbs chapter 4 verse 7 says, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy gettings get understanding, man. All right, so that's the primary thing. You have to understand what we're reading, and when we go into the root words of and the etymologies of the things that we read, we get a greater understanding of what the scripture is saying, man. Hey, so with that, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. And salutations to the hopeful elect out there, man. You brothers that sincerely do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Shalom, Makim.